Hello.
Hi, everybody.
Kayla Lords.
John Brownstone.
Of Loving BDSM, where we help kinksters like you have happy, healthy power exchange relationships. At least we try.
Yeah.
And some of that comes from learning. All of that comes from learning. Everything comes from learning. Everything is learning. I think that's what I've decided.
Pretty much. Yeah.
As a kinkster, whether you have been here for 5 minutes or you've been doing this for 5 years, there's always something new to learn. There's always more resources to find and to take a look at. For us, those tend to be books. Not always, not for, but most of the time. And so we thought for this video, we would share 3 kink resources that we have read and looked through and had thoughts about, to let you know what's out there, so that if you are a reader as well and want to add to your BDSM resource collection, you have some more books to try. Now, these are not going to be full book reviews. We could be here for a while, and we kind of already do that on Kinky Book Club once a month anyway. So I just want to do a quick rundown of each of these 3 books that we've had for way too long, since 2020. Not gonna lie.
Time has no meaning right now.
No, time. It's just a construct, okay? Okay, we're gonna go through these 3 books, let you know what they're basically about, so then you can decide if they're books you want, and all the links to where you can buy them will be in the description box. If you've read any of these books as we're going through them, please feel free to leave a comment and let us know what you thought. Let's start with the first one, and it is one we've actually mentioned in a lot of longer podcast episodes.
Yes.
That is Kinktionary by Ignyxia. So you will have heard Ignyxia's name several times around here because we wear her shirt designs, including the one we're wearing right now that says I kink and I know things. Kinktionary is exactly what it sounds like. It is a dictionary for kinky terms, and it's pretty comprehensive.
It is. It's a nice little go-to when you're stuck on something. I've had to look up a few things. I mean, as long as I've been in the lifestyle, there are terms I don't know. So it's a handy little book to have.
So far, when I've been like, how is that word really defined? If I've gone to look for it, it's been in here. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. Ignyxia has a section on abbreviations and acronyms. So if you are watching a lot of tech speak go by, or you're just jumping into like a FetLife group and you see all these letters and you're like, what do they mean? It's probably in here. So just to give you some examples. So obviously there's BDSM, bondage, discipline, dominance, submission, sadism, and masochism. Hi, if you did not know that, now you do. There's also CNC, which is consensual non-consent, BIPOC, which is Black, Indigenous, and People of Color, OTK, over the knee.
I like that one.
I know, right? This one I had not heard of, but we'll take it.
Okay.
TT, tit torture.
Okay.
And then all of the different versions I've ever seen of Your Kink Is Not My Kink. And I'm not going to read all these letters out, but I will try to show you. See that at the bottom? Yeah. There's a lot of ways to say your kink is not my kink. The other thing she does throughout the book, not just in the acronym section, is there are lines. So if you come across, there's a new term that she didn't put in here, or that just language is always changing.
Language is always change. There's always new things cropping up.
Right. You can add it in and keep this as a living document. So then you get to the section on the actual kink terms, words, and phrases. And there's all kinds of things from kink play, like abrasion play. Never thought of that term. The use of materials that scratch, scrape, and rub the surface of the skin. Never would have thought of that as its own standalone play. There's also hard limits. There's also even things like heterosexual, homosexual, homo-romantic, which I am just getting used to the terms homo-romantic, hetero-romantic, those kinds of terms. If you're like, what is homo-romantic? Someone who is romantically attracted to people of the same sex as themselves. There are kink words for play. There are fetish words. There are just terms like TENS unit. We've talked about those
many,
many times. They're part of electroplay. There's an entire definition, and as a freebie, TENS unit, transcutaneous electrical nerve stimulation unit, a piece of medical equipment that operates by sending electrical pulses through the skin and muscles of the wearer, designed for pain relief. What I like about these definitions is they're fairly easy to understand. It's not like you then have to go get another dictionary to go, but what did that word mean?
Yeah.
And then at the end, now this is kind of cool because I have heard of this and I have no concept of how this works. Like, I understand it, but I don't know what any of the colors mean. The hanky code. The hanky code is well known amongst leather community, and I think like sort of old guard LGBTQ community.
Absolutely old guard, yes.
It was a way to indicate, without having to use the words, what you were into. So a handkerchief was, one, a certain color, and two, in a certain back pocket. So if it was to the left, it meant this. If it was to the right, it meant that. And then you could quietly and discreetly signal what you were into / what you might be looking for, whether giving or receiving, without actually having to say the words. And then people who understood the hanky code knew that you were their people. I love that as a way to signal in the outside world, this is a thing. There are all kinds of colors. And then at the end, if you come across different colors or combinations of colors or whatever, you can actually write that in, and then you have it as a reference. And then at the very end, now Ignixia is an artist, as we said, t-shirt designs, we buy them all the time. And so there is even a reference section for images and illustrations. So let me give you a little sneak peek there. And this gives you a picture to go with some of the terms, and then tells you on what page to go find them. So this is a handy little tool. We purchased it from Amazon, but you can also purchase it directly from Ignixia's site. If you are a person who's trying to get away from purchasing from Amazon, I would highly recommend doing that. The links will be below. Yeah, I have not done it yet, but I have said I kind of want to go through and look at some terms that we just don't think about very often and come up with like podcast episodes to talk about. So I'm not gonna lie, that would be very handy. But yeah, Kinktionary by Ignixia. Okay, next book is Pain Play for Everyone by Luna Carruthers of Submissive Guide. We highly recommend submissiveguide.com as a resource for submissives and dominants if you kind of want to know the mindset of submissives. Luna sent me this book, free copy, to check out, and it's actually the 3rd edition. It used to be known, I think, by a different name. So some of this, if you have older books of hers, you might already have this, but if not, this would be new to you. So you can see all the places I tabbed when I was reading through this. It is a fairly short book. It's a fairly quick read. Was totally into it because pain play is our thing.
Right.
She breaks it down throughout the book in different ways, and that includes the benefits of pain. There are benefits to pain, not just pleasure. She also goes through a really nice little discussion of the different hormones that are released when we're feeling pain, especially when we're enjoying it. Natural pain processes. So there's, however you handle pain, that is not the only way to handle pain. And also, you can kind of teach yourself to handle pain in different ways. So like, if you naturally tense up, that's gonna hurt worse. And I have learned that the hard way many times over a spanking bench. Thank you very much. If you can relax, then you'll feel something slightly different. If you hold your body in different ways, things like that. And then she also goes into a discussion of how your mind and your body, either separately or together, can make pain feel worse or better or different. So that was really fascinating. But the part that has stuck with me through all these tabs, I actually had to put a separate bookmark in it so I knew I could find it, was where she said, and it made total sense, like, why have we not talked about it this way or thought about it this way, that there's a lot more to pain than stinging and thuddy. And I tend to break them down into those kinds of descriptors because
I think most people do,
right, and I'm thinking primarily of impact play because that's where I prefer to get my pain from. But she had an entire list, and I'm not gonna read the whole thing. I mean, you got to buy the book, right? But just to give you some examples, and when I was reading them, I was like, yeah, I have felt this before. I just didn't call it that. So there's aching, there's burning, there's dull, there's frightful. That was kind of fun. Niggling, piercing, pricking, scratchy, stabbing, throbbing, last one in our list, unbearable. Yes, I have been there. And so when we talk about our pain, and the whole point of that is that the more words we have to describe our pain, the more ways we can relate to it and figure out what we like and what we don't like. And so that was a really good section, because I was like, sometimes the pain should be okay because it's a kind of pain I'm okay with, but it is unbearable, and I need you to stop, please.
And see, what I liked about it, there are a lot of books out there that talk about, impact play and different things, all part of different BDSM books. But this, rather than telling you, you need to do this, you need to do that, hit this way, hit that way, this kind of went behind the scenes.
Yeah.
It looked behind that curtain, so to speak.
It was more about how you process it, not what you do, but what you feel and how your body experiences it. That and the next book we're going to talk about in a minute, they both did that, and I really appreciated that, because the how-to is not as difficult to learn on certain things as we think. Like an over-the-knee spanking is your hand and a butt. A paddle is an instrument and a butt. So a lot of the ways we play didn't take that long to learn, but there is still more to learn once you understand how your mind is processing it, how your body's processing it, how breathing and tension and the natural hormonal release that occurs with pain, like all of that can inform how you play with pain and can create a better or just different experience with it. And so I really like that one. So yes, Pain Play for Everyone. Luna Carruthers. You can buy it at submissiveguide.com or on Amazon. I will link to that below, like I said. Okay, so next is a very interesting one that was sent to me for review, and I held on to it for a very long time. I'm awful. It's called Somatics for Rope Bottoms by Natasha, I want to say this right, Nawantaneko. I think I said her name right, I'm not sure. And this, again, is not a how-to book.
No, there are a plethora of how-to books when it comes to rope. There are YouTube channels. There are workshops. There are an innumerable amount of ways to learn how to tie rope. And again, this goes behind the scenes. It almost takes on a little bit of a spiritual nature.
I think so.
But I think that's what made it interesting to me. And I like that, because, anything that we do, there's more to it than just the scene, than just the action, because when you're going into this, when you're going into an impact scene, when you're going into a rope scene, people look for a mindset, and this talks about that mindset.
I know, because when you're getting tied up with rope, and in this case, but I found a lot of what I was reading certainly applied to impact play and other forms of kink, which made it very interesting. When, yes, you're going to have that technical experience of being tied up with rope or whatever, but it's really about how that experience makes you feel.
Sure.
You want it to feel a certain way. This book dives into how to connect with how it's making you feel, while also getting more of what you want out of it by focusing on more than just, here's the exact technique being used, here's the material of the rope, here's the exact knot. So just to kind of give you an idea of the chapters that are covered in this, we've got a chapter on intention. What do you actually want to get out of your rope bottom experience? Consent. Hi, that's important.
That's a biggie.
Attention. Hold on, and I want to get this right. Attention was not about, hey, look at me. It was, where does our attention go when we're in the ropes? Now, as somebody who's not even all that into bondage but does it, and also loves impact play and still has this happen, my mind can wander.
Yes.
And not be in the moment. And when it's not, here's what I found with pain play. When it's not in the moment, it hurts worse. When I'm in the moment, I'm just feeling it, I have a better experience. So that was a really interesting chapter. There's a chapter on communication. There's a chapter on breathing. And part of that, one of the small things I kind of took away from that is, if you're not breathing deeply and you're not relaxed in your breathing, you are holding yourself too tight, and then therefore it's not as good of an experience as it could be. That is very true in impact play as well. There is a chapter called Center, which is on resiliency, your own resiliency. Limits, surrender, safety, pain, and emotions. And a lot of that is, on the pain, there was good pain, bad pain. On the emotions, it was, how does this make you feel? What does it bring up for you? How do you handle your feelings? I mean, this was Natasha could have taken rope out of it and just called it somatics or bottoms, and I think it would still apply.
It would still apply
to a lot of kinky play where you are on the receiving end. But specific to rope bottoms, there was a lot of conversation and sharing of Natasha's own experience of this is how I felt and this is what I've experienced, and it was specific to rope bottoming. So if you are a rope bottom and you want to get more in tune and in touch with the experience, especially if you've had some dissatisfying experiences, not because the partner was not a good fit, but just there was something off, this might be a really good one to read.
Yeah. Especially, and like you say, the book can cross over, but I think what makes it exceptional is rope has become kind of its own subset. So many people are doing rope right now, and again there's a lot of stuff on even rope safety, which is very important. Okay, but there are so many people who practice rope who just want to do rope. From self-tying to suspension to floor bondage to bedroom bondage. And I think this is, if you're really into rope or want to get into rope, I think it would be an excellent read.
I would also say, it's written for a rope bottom and from that perspective, but as somebody who's not into bondage but does bottom on occasion when it's requested, I did feel like I had a slightly better understanding of kind of the appeal and the mystique of rope and of bondage. And so if you are in a situation like I am where your partner's totally into it and you're willing but you're not excited about it, it might be something interesting to read there too, because you're gonna get a deeper look into it and you might feel differently about it. I really think that I'm on a personal, not really about kink, I am trying to practice mindfulness and being more in the moment, just in general. But I do wonder, now that I read this, you tie me up with rope, and I'm actually paying attention, and I'm not, making a mental to-do list, or playing on my phone, because we know that's the way to keep Kayla from fidgeting.
Is there really, though?
If I'm playing on my phone, scrolling through Instagram. But, maybe I will have a different experience. I don't think it's going to become a kink of mine. It's just not inherently a thing I'm ready to go do. But maybe I could get a different experience out of it if I focused on being present in the moment with it and paid attention to those things. So those are the books we have for you this time. If any of those are interesting to you, the links are all down below. If you've read any of those books, let us know what you thought of them. If you have other everybody knows about this book kind of recommendations that you think were great for kink resources, share those below, because I'm all about adding to the kink library. And as much as I love a lot of the kink resources we've read currently and over the years, I am kind of looking for more that are specifically tailored maybe to specific kinks instead of just here's a broad overview kind of thing. So feel free to share your recommendations. That's it for us this time. If you enjoyed this at all, feel free to give us a thumbs up. If you like it enough to want more and come back, you can consider subscribing.
And ring that notification bell so you get updates of new content.
Just do what Daddy says. And if you want more of this where you can't get it anywhere else and you want to help us do more of what this is that we do, what is it that we do? I don't know. You can join us on Patreon at patreon.com/KaylaLords. Bye.